Good morning. Welcome to another exciting edition of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your scintillating and riveting host, Voice of Doom. Ni hao, everyone. It's just another day. It's just another day. Got notes on Petri Dish's latest speech, but they're all over the place because I'm running out of paper. Not that I want to take a lot of notes on his dribble-drabble, but I want to get it right because when I put down Petri dish of putrefied excrement of a diseased jackal, I want to be accurate, unlike him. So, just as I said, it's going to be, let's turn the page on this and pretend like nothing's going on. The war is over, so we should all be celebrating. And we shouldn't use Labor Day to do anything fun because, the Delta virus, we have to maintain vigilance against that. But I don't think he really talked too much about that. He tattered himself as usual. Used pretty much ghost-like phantoms as, the data to say that we're doing well. I mean, well, we should have had more jobs added, but we didn't because of Delta, and that's because people are still, not getting vaccinated. Fastest growth in economy, because he started with an economy that was totally dead. Of course it grows. Economy bigger than before the pandemic. We're the only economy bigger in the whole Western world. The facts speak for themselves. It was nothing but platitudes, and I knew it would be. And I knew he could do it off the top of his head because he doesn't have to think. He's been saying it for 50 years, the same platitudes. Think about where we were compared to where we are today. I mean, yeah, just compare it. Just put it in your head and do a little compare and contrast. There's no more food lines. He's talking about people going and getting food and waiting in line for 2 hours, during the pandemic. And I don't remember that. And I remember when I was shut down, I was making more money than I did when I was working. 72% of Americans think now is a good time to find a quality job. What does that mean? 72% think it's a good time to find a good paying job. That doesn't even mean anything. It's critical that we do these two tasks. Grow from the bottom up. Need more progress in fighting Delta. And more breathing room, he says. Breathing room he means by if I could have a little help with my bills, a little bit of extra money, I'd have a little bit of breathing room. It sounds like living space from Schicklgruber, just a different kind. Pandemic of the unvaccinated creating a lot of unease in our economy and at and around our kitchen table. So he's sowing the seeds of distrust and hatred because the unvaccinated are going to be treated as pariahs, and that's going to happen over the next few months. I mean, before the total end. I took a lot of notes on this guy. I could just go through this whole thing line by line. Delta is the reason jobs aren't stronger. The job market, job report, which means nothing because nobody's going to believe it anymore. And why should we believe anything this guy says about anything, including the V word and everything else? Because he's not to be trusted and he's a liar. And he's been proven time and time again. It's not going to be real funny this time. I'm just going to comment on Petri dish. Benefits about to expire. States can solve it. First he says benefits are about to expire. States can solve it and federal resources can help. Not from taxes, but we have the money to give them. So he's saying up here, that we need more, stimulus, and we need to keep those things going. And then down at the bottom, he says something about, well, I'll get to it. Just have to go down the line. Congress needs to pass economic agenda, my economic agenda. Long-term stimulus, reducing bottlenecks in trade and price pressures, investing in America, future, creating millions of good-paying jobs for all Americans. Pass my economic plan for child care. Ease the burden mothers, especially mothers, bear in staying out of the job market because they don't have proper child care. Modernize our energy grid with clean energy. It's going to create millions of high-paying jobs. Ease inflationary tension. That's just what he wants to do. He didn't say how. And we need more resilience. And that's one thing I actually agree with, but by resilience he means put more money into everything. That's going to make us more resilient to, a hurricane. And I agree, resilience, but I don't see how he can make us more resilient. It's not going to be by dumping more money into stuff. 90% of the jobs won't require a degree. He didn't say if they were the high-paying jobs, but I see proles. I see SOMA, and I see that they're doing it to us already. Universal pre-K, family leave, daycare, no raising taxes if you don't make less than $400,000. But if you do make over $400,000, you got to pay your fair share, and we got to level the playing field. And a good stock market doesn't mean good economy. So he's saying, the rich people are going to be, gouged, and they won't find ways to, shelter their money. And they're not smart enough to do that. Then he ended it, and he knew he would have to respond to something, so they probably had a plant in there. That's the only way. I've done magic before. I know how it's done. You have a plant. Someone who you think is just out of the blue random is actually someone who's in on the plan. So he's not going to want to hear the word Afghanistan from any of those people out there that seem to be turning on him. So he didn't call, somebody piped up. They were already set. They were going to ask the first question. They probably had the microphone in their hand already. And they go something about, what do you feel about the latest, Texas law about abortion? And that's perfect because he's been talking about that forever. And they probably told him in the morning, okay, this is the question you're going to get that you're going to have to look like you know what you're talking about with. So pay attention, Joe, wake up, pay attention. This is the question you're going to get, okay? We're going to have the answer already taped to your podium. We do that long before we even take the podium out to the stage. And so you're going to come out and you're going to hold your binder to your chest so you look like you're not reading anything and just say this off the top of your head. Are you listening? I'm a strong supporter of Roe versus Wade, but I just feel like this law might be kind of a vigilante system, if you know what I mean. I respect the opinions of people that say life begins at conception. I just don't agree. So we're lucky to have Petri dish to solve all the mysteries of life and death for us. He doesn't agree that life begins at conception, so he's settled that. So he's not only gotten us out of war completely and gotten us into an era of peace, brotherhood, and love for our fellow they, or whatever they are, but he's told us that life does not begin at conception. So now all he has to do is get up there and say when it does start. But I have no dog in that fight. I just wanted to show how he actually sounded like he was sentient, and I know how they did it because I've done magic before. And you just look at the obvious. I mean, if there's no other explanation, then it had to be done this way. Because I'm like, how could he possibly sound halfway, coherent? It doesn't make sense. And then I realized how he did it. Same way they saw women in half, which will be happening very soon in Afghanistan. So as he turns his back, because he has a very important engagement to go look at the carnage in Louisiana that he's going to dump billions of dollars into, and he's probably going to fly around in his helicopter and sleep. And oh, look how he feels so bad about the devastation. Can't even keep his eyes open. So that's that. I think I demolished him enough. And there's more to be. There's more demolition to come. Back to Mandarin, because that's where I think we need to put our concentration. It's funny, I was looking up words just at random, and the Mandarin word for idiot is bendan. Bendan. I find that interesting. Bendan. It kind of sounds like that word that we use for that occupier of the Oval Office. Bendan is idiot. Shatzui is fool. Shatzui. It's really hard to do because it's not pronounced the way it's spelled, and I don't even know if they use our alphabet, so it's difficult. Tool is gongqi. Gongqi. Now, tool, it means utilize something, a device, but I'm using tool as, shatzui and bendan, fool and idiot, and a tool. The word for president is zongtong, and it's spelled like it sounds, zongtong, so that's easy. Whenever you hear the word zongtong. And I wanted to do a few articles in short words just so we can start getting our grammar going, because the more articulate we are in Mandarin, I think the more we'll go far in the next regime. And is he. H-E, he. A is ichong. Ichong. So why do they use ichong for A? That's like an article. It should be a short letter. The is shua. Shua. Z-H-E, shua. So write this all down because it's hard to memorize. It really is. I have it written down. It's still hard. The phrase for interest payment is lishi difu. No, lishi jifu. Interest payment. So when you hear lishi jifu from our overlord on the podium, you know he's not talking about universal brotherhood. America owes us. Mego Chin Woman Da. Mego Chin Woman Da. Now, if you hear that phrase, he's not talking about, his latest infrastructure plan, which is diabolical, by the way, if you knew anything about it. Nothing like our infrastructure plan. His infrastructure plan is real infrastructure that's going to do a lot of bad things, and you'll see. And by the time you see what's happening, you'll not even have seen this, so I think I got a little bit of good Mandarin in there. So Magwo, it almost sounds like some, futuristic race. We're the Magwo. That means America in Chinese. Magwo Chi Won Menda. So when you hear that from the guy, that means America owes us, ... So I think I got a lot in there. I think you can use that and you can practice at home. And, maybe we can get a whole new language going here just for fun. Alrighty. Ni hao. And xie xie.